Second, please, 1 minute. Then we'll go to Facebook as well. Second, please, 1 minute. Then we'll go to Facebook as well. 1 second, please. Nearly there. Hare Krishna, everyone. Please show yourselves. Don't be shy. Please, don't let me ask for you, Copy the stream copying. Right, now let's put it here. Right, so Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I'm just doing it on Facebook now, please. Okay, Hare Krishna. All right, so today we are meeting today to discuss realizations of devotees. It's a very important part, most important category in our preaching of Krishna consciousness. It's an ingenious way of finding out and seeing how devotees, how much they're progressing, and if they have any questions, and these are the best place to discuss those and get some clarification if they need so. Right, Hare Krishna. So here we go, and let's do a quick prayers first. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Gnananjana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashta Praeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Shri Gurudev ki jai, Jagat Guru Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Chandra Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Okay, good. So everyone is doing well, I heard. Even in this corona situation, that is very nice. At least you can smile. That is very good. Not many people can smile during corona. So we must thank Krishna for giving us this great opportunity. and let us make the most of it. Okay, so today is our every three weekly discussions where we share our realizations of what we have understood from the messages that have been sent of scriptures in our weekend WhatsApp group and email and Facebook. So also, if you have any questions to clarify, this is the best place to do so. Right, who would like to start off with your realizations, please? Hare Krishna. Anandji, very nice. Please. Hare Krishna.
The spiritual master teaches us how to live and how to live. I would like to share my realization on this first.
Yes.
ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my Guru, my spiritual master, opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge, and I offer my respectful obeisance unto him. The word "ajnana" means ignorance or darkness. At present, everyone is suffering due to ignorance. No one can claim that he is not suffering. The spiritual master brings his disciples from darkness to light. Now question arises, who is the spiritual master? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, whoever can impart knowledge about Krishna is a spiritual master. The spiritual master takes the torchlight of the knowledge and presents it before the living entity who is enveloped in darkness. That knowledge relieves him from the sufferings of the darkness of ignorance. The spiritual master is the sum total of all demigods. By the mercy of the spiritual master, one receives the benediction of Krishna, and one can understand that he can become Krishna conscious by giving up his illicit sex life, giving up all toxicants, giving up eating meat, and gambling as well. The activities, when done with purified senses, make us perfect, and then we can reach the real ideal perfection of human life. A spiritual master teaches us how to surrender to Krishna without leaving our occupational duties, family, etc., and how to remember Krishna always while performing our designated duties. Our spiritual life begins when we understand that we are not the body but the spirit soul, which is part and parcel of Krishna. This type of knowledge is achieved only by the mercy of a bona fide spiritual master. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you very much. Anandji.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you, Anand Prabhu, for your nice realization. I want to share my realization on one of the transcendental mellow. The mellow is, please never get frustrated. Nothing is the end of the world. One thing only should trouble us if we cannot understand Krishna or remember Krishna. That is the only miserable condition. All other conditions have solutions. If you are alive, nothing can go wrong. Never discourage yourself. Always be courageous. Never discourage. And this courage really is the monopoly of taking unflinching shelter of Krishna. Then we are courageous. His Holiness Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj. Jai. So I realize from this mellow is that we lose peace of mind for material things which are not in our control. We cannot control situations around us. there will be something always which is not the way we want. So, for example, there are like these threefold miseries. Every living being faces these miseries. Adi bhautik, the miseries inflicted by other living entities. Adi devik, miseries inflicted by demigods, like natural calamities, etc. And Adi atmik, the miseries actually created by ourselves, like stress, frustration, jealousy, envy, greed, anger, etc. Further than this, we have four major problems also, which every living being faces: birth, death, old age, and diseases. So nobody can escape that. So among all these, how we keep our peace of mind? If somebody said something to us, we get upset. If something happened in other part of the world that affect us, or government changed some policies, we got disturbed. So we cannot escape from these disturbance. Padam padam yad vipadam. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 14, verse 58. Actually, this is quoted by Srila Prabhupada in Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 2, verse 51 in the purport. So I will read this, I will recite these words. Samashritaye pad pallava pallavam mahat padam punyayaso murarahe bhavam buddhir vatsapadam param padam 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 yad vipadam natesham. Translation: for one who has accepted the abode of the lotus feet of the Lord, who is the shelter of the cosmic manifestation and is famous as Mukunda, or the giver of mukti, the ocean of the material world is like the water contained in a calf's footprint. Param Padam, or the place where there are no material miseries, or Vaikuntha, is his goal, not the place where there is danger in every step of life. So, yeah, in this verse, we can understand that this world is padam padam yad vipadam. Every step is danger. And in purport, I will just read a few lines. Prabhupada said that owing to ignorance, one does not know that this material world is a miserable place where there are dangers at every step. So by understanding this fact, we can take shelter of Krishna through disciplic succession. By the causeless mercy of Guru Maharaj, I have got this opportunity to take shelter. His Grace Amrish Prabhu started weekend programs to give this opportunity to everyone, and we get the courage in association of devotees. As Maharaj said, always be courageous, never discouraged. This courage is monopoly of taking unflinching shelter of Krishna. So I am very grateful to His Grace Amrish Prabhu and Her Grace Purna Pragna Mataji and His Grace Krishna Samarpan Krishna Das Prabhuji to providing weekend shelter to us. Under the shelter, we feel protected and get encouragement. Our life has changed when we feel Guru Maharaj's presence at every step. The value of the shelter is only realized when you go away from it. As long as we are protected, we take it for granted sometimes. So if you want to save yourself from frustration, never leave the shelter of Krishna. And this is our experience. This is my experience while we are in the shelter of Guru Maharaj and WECAN Namahata. All the devotees, they encourage to do bhakti and preaching. So this is this experience you won't feel anywhere. So that's what I realized from this, Melo. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I would like to share my realization from one of your posts in the group for the new devotees, not for the intermediate one. And that you posted, I think, a couple of days before, 14.1 and 14.2. So in Krishna consciousness, I always get bewildered and get confused what knowledge is all about. And then also I get confused how to apply this knowledge. So there are some realization which I had in the past also, which I would like to share. They make sense. They may make sense to all of you or may not make sense to you at all. But this is my realization. We may go to any university, we can have a lot of qualification, we have a lot of degrees, we can get a job. But unless we know how to apply that knowledge is useless. So similarly, we may study a lot of scriptures, we can memorize verses, we can do this, but it's very important that we understand how to apply this knowledge. But if you don't know how to apply this knowledge, then probably we need to practice more, or we need more association and more setup. So before I start, I would also like to thank Amrish Prabhu for taking time out to actually do all those things. It is not easy doing every week, all the time. Yeah. So thank you, Amrish Prabhu. So that 14.1, what it says is what Amrish Prabhu posted, that I will quickly read from there. The blessed Lord said, again, I shall declare to you this supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge, knowing which all the sages have attained to supreme perfection. So that's Krishna start talking about knowledge. This is chapter 14. And this is about mode of material nature. So, and the 14.2 is, by becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain to the transcendental nature, which is like my own nature. Thus established, one is not born at the time of creation, nor disturbed at the time of dissolution. So, Amrish Prabhu puts a lot of effort in posting this information, and it is up to us that how we actually understand and how much we understand and how we apply. So Krishna is actually talking about, what I understand is what happens when you apply knowledge, and what happens if you don't apply knowledge. Obviously, that doesn't happen. What will happen after applying knowledge? So one is, by becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain the transcendental nature, which is like my own nature. And Krishna is talking about his own nature. Imagine this situation. Thus established, one is not born at the time of creation, nor disturbed at the time of dissolution. So that we get an eternal life. That's Krishna's. That's what Krishna is saying. So, and then Prabhupada writes very nicely the purpose and his realizations. And the few lines which I would like to quote here is, generally in the material world, whatever knowledge we get is contaminated by the three modes of material nature. But knowledge which is not contaminated by the three modes of material modes of nature is called transcendental knowledge. So we understand this, and then Prabhupada concludes this: to obtain such knowledge, one must develop all the spiritual qualities. One who thus develops the spiritual quality is not affected either by the creation or the destruction of the material world. So then we become eternal life. We come out of this material world where there is no decay. We don't die and we don't suffer. So again, to get that knowledge, and what is that knowledge is, as I said, we may study a lot of things, but unless we know how to apply that knowledge has no meaning. And also, not only applying that knowledge, whether we apply that knowledge in the right way. That's why we need a bona fide system. That's why we need to go back to Srila Prabhupada books. It's not whimsical. It's not mental concoction. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, chapter 26, verse number 2, which is very small, where Kapil Muni is actually telling about what knowledge is. And same thing. So Krishna is telling here what happens after knowledge, and this talks about what is knowledge. Knowledge is the ultimate perfection of self-realization. So simple, don't complicate. I shall explain that knowledge unto you by which the knots of attachment to the material world are cut. So same thing Krishna is sharing here in 14.2, which Amrish Prabhu has shared here in his posts. So it's very important that we actually endeavor to realize those knowledge. We follow those regulated principles. We do those chanting. We actually go to the bona fide system. We go to Srila Prabhupada books, and we understand that knowledge by realizing them. And realizing is only after practice, only after we actually able to get right association. So it's very simple. Once we realize that, that's the key. So if you don't realize, it's not knowledge. Now, same thing Krishna is telling in chapter 13 also. Again, this has nothing to do with the qualification, what degree we have got, how much we have studied, and how much we know. It is all about being able to understand these simple things. And that's where, as a devotee, particularly who are getting started, we actually struggle. I have struggled a lot. So, and that's a famous verse, which I like it most. And I'll quickly go to translation because it's a very large verse. Which if you can like, you can post it so that everybody can share. 13.8 to 12. It talks about the knowledge, what knowledge is, and Krishna is very precise. And this again relate to Kapil Muni's instructions when he's talking about material nature and how that has been created, about 24 elements and all those things. So here Krishna says to Arjuna, humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master, cleanliness, steadiness, and self-control, renunciation of the objects of the sense gratification, absence of false ego, the perception of the evil of birth, death, old age, and disease, non-attachment to children, wife, home, and the rest, and even-mindedness amid pleasant and unpleasant events, constant and unalloyed devotion to me, resorting to solitary places, detachment from general mass of people, accepting the importance of self-realization, and philosophical search for the absolute truth. This is very important. That's where we miss out. Philosophical search for the absolute truth. We just go concoction and we start imagining things and we start realizing. And philosophical search for the absolute truth. All these I thus declare to be knowledge, and what is contrary to this is ignorance. So Krishna is very precise. He's telling us what knowledge is. And if you think, this is not talking about any degree, any verses, how much we understand. Sorry, not understanding. Understanding is very important. And these are the personal traits: humility, pridelessness, non-violence, which probably we have to practice, we have to realize, and then only, and that's the knowledge. Otherwise, there is no knowledge. We may think that we know a lot, but we are struggling in our devotional service. And there are quick definitions. I've made quick notes on about, because it's a very long purport. Prabhupada describes so nicely, but I don't think we have that much time. He talks about what is humility. Humility means that one should not be anxious to have the satisfaction of being honored by others. And I have been discussing this point every time whenever I get chance, that let us understand what humility is. Humility is not folding your hands and look polite, smiling, but actually looking for that somebody honors you, somebody respects you. If they don't respect you, then you feel that, oh, they are not humble. Similarly, very simple definition of non-violence. Non-violence is generally taken to mean not killing or destroying the body, but actually non-violence means not to put others in distress. This is again a very simple definition which Prabhupada actually describes that how we can practice, and this is again we have to realize this. And further, Prabhupada describes simplicity means that without diplomacy, one should be so straightforward that he can disclose the real truth even to an enemy. So that is simplicity, not actually complicating things. Then Prabhupada writes about cleanliness. Cleanliness is essential for making advancement in spiritual life. So we know that if you're not clean, we just cannot progress. And we know we sing that prayer all the time about our mind is clean if our room is clean. So there are two kinds of cleanness, external and internal. External cleanness means taking a bath. But for internal cleanness, one has to think of Krishna always and chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. So again, this is a concept which Prabhupada is giving for us to practice and realize this. Then Prabhupada very nicely elaborates about steadiness, what is self-control, false ego, detachment, and yeah, it's a very long purport. So to summarize this, and then Prabhupada writes in the purport that if we become a true devotee, servant of servants of the servants of the servant, and we practice it in the right frame of mind, again by realizing, then probably all these qualities automatically come to a devotee. So thank you, Amrish, for sharing this knowledge, what Krishna and how to actually acquire that thing. Very nice verse. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Avinash. Yes, please. Anybody else? Hare Krishna. Feel free to just jump in.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I will be speaking my realization on Mellow by the purport to Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, 7th chapter, 6th paragraph by Srila Prabhupada. You sent it on the intermediate group. Revival of dormant affection or love of Godhead does not depend on mechanical system of hearing and chanting, but it solely and wholly depends on causeless mercy of the Lord. When the Lord is fully satisfied with the sincere efforts of devotee, he may endow him with his loving transcendental service. Okay. Devotional service, in spite of being the constitutional position of the living entity, is always dormant in everyone's heart. When we forget our constitutional position, we start thinking of ourselves as an enjoyer of the material world, become attached to anything and anyone on the material platform. We go after material pleasure entirely and very easily deviate from the so-called right path. Married people engage in adultery, students begin to cheat, youngsters engage in all sorts of activities such as drinking, drugs, or having multiple sexual partners. People eat meat and so on, and they're not even aware of what and why they're doing. Engulfed by the material modes of nature and unaware of its true identity and constitutional position, the human being finds himself in an ocean of miseries and is unable to find a way out of it. At the end, we just end up engrossed in material tendencies and satisfy ourselves by saying, "This is life. I have to endure these things. It cannot be all happy all the time." Now, the material world is Dukhalayam Ashashvatam, rightly, as Krishna has stated in the Bhagavad Gita. But what we fail to understand is instead of making peace with living in a world full of miseries for a lifetime, it is preferable and even makes more logical sense to realize our true identity and constitutional position. Once we understand the temporariness of material nature and this life, our miseries would come to an end. But how do we realize that? As was prescribed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this process starts by chanting and hearing the name, fame, and glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. However, revival of dormant affection or love of Godhead does not depend on just mechanical system of hearing and chanting, but it solely and wholly depends on the causeless mercy of the Lord. After all, it is because of Krishna's causeless mercy that he even delivered the she-demon Putana because she pretended to be an affectionate mother by providing milk to Krishna. All that can be done is to sincerely practice Krishna consciousness and completely surrender ourselves to Krishna. And only when he is fully satisfied with the sincere efforts of his devotee may he endow him with his loving transcendental service.
Jai, wonderful. That's great. You all are big pandits now. Avinash Prabhu, kya ho raha hai? What is going on?
Yes, Prabhuji, I was going to tell you, I said, okay, I must let Soumya finish before I say. Soumya and Parth actually study books online. Am I right, Soumya?
Yes, Prabhuji.
You and Parth actually, and they share, and once they have told me. So that's why I said, okay, so how come Soumya giving some such realization, and where does she find it?
Job is finished now. We have to take sannyas now.
And the way they talk, Prabhu, see, and I don't know how Divyanshi is prepared for today, but yesterday the relation we shared, I don't know what she's going, but I want Divyanshi to share that relation also. So, but anyway, coming back to Soumya, whatever you're doing, and reading books, and the kind of, particularly this young generation, Prabhu, the way they talk, and the particularly girls, it amazes me, Prabhu. I'm very old-fashioned that way. Yeah. Wonderful. Keep doing it. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yes, Divyansh, I want to hear from you now. Thank you.
Prabhuji, I am so sorry. I did not know that today was the Realisations class, but I'll reiterate what I said yesterday to Prabhuji. Like we were reading this verse in which I don't remember the exact verse. I think it was chapter 18, verse 66. In one of the paragraphs, Srila Prabhupada says that you should be fearless in every condition, that Krishna will protect you. So I was sharing a very recent experience that I had about it, in which that so we went to our college 1 month ago, and it was supposed to be in a very strict conditions. Because mere college वालों ने can I eventually speak in Hindi if everyone's okay with it? Yeah.
No problem.
So,
English, Chinese, whatever you want to speak.
yes. So my college administration was not very vigilant about anything. So we ended up having a lot of COVID cases in our college, and to the point the government took over the entire campus, and nobody was allowed to go out of the campus, and there were like a lot of COVID cases.
This is Delhi. New Delhi, is it?
This is Patiala.
Job. Ooh.
Yes,
My
yes,
God.
a lot of cases, and because I was always very vigilant about all kinds of sanitizing. My room was always sanitized. I was very sure that I did not have COVID, but I knew that just in my lane there were at least 2-3 women who had COVID. I knew this for a fact, and they were not letting them go out, because once you're COVID positive, you can't go out of the containment zone. It was officially declared a containment zone. So me and another friend of mine, both of us were very sure that we were safe, and we just wanted to get out of that place. So just a second, Prabhuji. I'm sorry, Prabhuji, I have a lot of guests at my home right now. Sorry. We were trying to get out of our colleges, and we had done everything. Their protocol was कि आप पहले COVID test कराओ, and if you're negative, then you can leave, and that only with your parents only. So this was their thing. So हम लोग सुबह से we had stood in so many lines. We had talked to everybody who was responsible कि COVID test करा दो, negative आ जाए तो then we can leave, because we didn't want to stay here, because it was growing very harmful, and it was a very emergency situation. So we had stood in multiple lines, at least 5 lines since the morning, long lines just to get tested. And जैसे ही हमारा नंबर आता था, कुछ ना कुछ गड़बड़ हो जाती थी कि नहीं अभी टेस्टिंग नहीं हो रही है, कि अभी नहीं, अभी वापस जाओ हॉस्टल में आके टेस्टिंग होगी. So many things. And I remember it was around 2 o'clock, and I was standing in the 5th line of the day just to get tested. And I was thinking to myself, I've done everything today, but I've not remembered Krishna, and I've not prayed to Krishna to get me out of this situation. I've done everything, but I've not remembered Krishna once today. So I just standing in the line, I joined my hands and I said, I prayed, just did this, and like, Krishna, please save me. I really want to get out of here. If you think that I'm worthy of your help, then please just save me. And saying that, I got out of that line, and I was eating my lunch this time. It was 2 baje, so that was the lunch time. And I don't know for what reason. I had 1.5 days to do everything. But sitting on that table, I thought कि time बहुत है. Let's pack up our stuff at least. Packing शुरू कर देते हैं. Like let's see क्या होगा, जाने देंगे नहीं जाने देंगे. So I finished my lunch and I went into my room. And for no good reason, I bathed, I did Narsimha Aarti, and I started packing my stuff. And I was talking to a friend of mine. He was not a very good friend of mine also, just like he was calling me to ask कि क्या चल रहा है college में. And I told him कि ये चल रहा है. Then I continued my packing. For 1 hour, I continued packing. The other friend of mine who was trying to get out of the college as well, after I was almost done packing, she called me कि वो कहीं खड़ी हुई थी and she was asking somebody कि कब होगी testing. Out of nowhere, one teacher came to her and told her you have half an hour window. If you want to get out of the college, you can get out right now, because the police is not around and the college has sanctioned it. You have half an hour. If you can get out of the college, get out of the college. Luckily, this friend of mine, like I don't know, like why, like she was just standing here. She was lucky. She got to know at the right time. And she called me and she was like, Ranchi, how far are you in your packing? And I'm like, I'm almost done. Usne apni packing raat ko hi kar li thi. So she told me, you have half an hour window. Come down with your stuff. And मैं सारा सामान उठा के, and I still remember, मैंने ऐसे छोटी सी कटोरी में I had put like थोड़ी सी किशमिश there as a prasadam to Krishna. So there were 4 kishmish. I took 4 of them. 2 I ate myself, 2 I gave to my friend, and I'm like, God will take us out of it, don't worry. He's like, okay. And then another thing that happened was that we could get out of the hostel, but we couldn't get out of our college gate without being in a car. I had called my father to send a car, but he was going to be 4 hours late. So so we had to arrange a car, and they weren't letting any Ola or Uber inside the campus. So this friend of mine that I was absolutely for no reason talking to, I called him, and I didn't even know where he was staying in Patiala. He was in Patiala. So I called him and I asked him that, can you arrange a car and like come here to pick us up? He's like, give me a minute, I'll tell you. And we had a very half an hour window. It took us 15 minutes to come down with our stuff and do all the formalities. And he called me and he's like, within 2 minutes, I'm coming out of your hostel. Within 2 minutes, he was out, literally within 2 minutes, he was out there standing with the car. His car was just big enough to fit all of our stuff, because it was the 2 of us and both of us had 2 months worth of stuff. It was just big enough to fit both of our stuff. And the moment I got inside the car, the moment we got out of the college, the first thing he said to me was that, Divyanshi, I had 1% chance of getting this car today. I literally 1% chance I had of getting this car today. I have no idea how I got this car. You should be thanking your lucky stars that you are outside college right now. I have no idea how you got out of here. And it was a dynamic experience. I don't remember how it happened, but
Very nice, very nice. Give Krishna a chance. That is our motto, you know.
yes.
Give Krishna a chance. That's what you always wanted to say. Is it not so?
Yes.
Jai. This is wonderful. So you are now at your parents' home now?
Yes, I'm now.
You're satisfied, all safe, parents are happy, you are happy, all good. Thing. We try to take help of everybody, you know.
Yeah.
Krishna, he'll help you. It's not that he's not helping us before, he's helping us realize him. So do not think that when you think, oh, I did not pray to Krishna, it's your endeavor. It's right, in a way, it is our endeavor. But a devotee never sees himself or herself independent from Krishna's thoughts. So even he himself, now you tried everything, use intelligence. Have you tried everything? Yes or no?
Yes.
No. I try not. Very nice. Hare Krishna. Beautiful. Very wonderful realization. Very wonderful realization. Hare Krishna.
I'll just put into where this discussion came yesterday, and I don't know how Divyanshi shared this. We were discussing this line, and yesterday I was running around and I was late. And this is 18.66, and that Krishna says, Sarvadharma parityaja ma mekam saranavaja aham sarva papevo mokshami ma sucha. So she got stuck to ma sucha. Do not fear. And this is a real example. And she, that's where she started sharing. And that verse was quoted by Prabhupada in Matchless Gift book, chapter 1.
Okay.
That's the background.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Very inspiring. They inspire all of us, increase our faith. Very nice. Hare Krishna. Yes.
Hare Krishna. I'd like to thank everyone for giving their very nice realizations. I'm not sure how I can follow up after what Divyanshi Mataji said, but I just have a small realization on the transcendental medal that was given in the WECAN intermediate group, that the spiritual master teaches us how to live and how to leave. So when thinking about it a bit further, actually how we live is in a preparation of how to leave. So the spiritual master is essentially just, teaching us how to go back to, Godhead. And the process of how to leave is shown in how the spiritual master lives his life. So we know, obviously, my Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj, from whatever I've seen and from whatever I've heard about from my parents and other disciples, and obviously other things that I've read about Srila Gurudev, it's very clear to me that Maharaj was in a constant state of preparation, and throughout his life, or throughout whenever I had experience that everything Maharaj did was revolving around reading Bhagavatam, studying Bhagavatam, and practically applying Bhagavatam, as well as, and most importantly for us, showing us and teaching us personally how to do so. Now, it's obviously, we all know that when Maharaj, went back to Godhead, it was very clear to, all of us that Maharaj went back to Godhead because of, the way Maharaj showed us by his mercy. There are certain things that you cannot really, say to people to make them, make them believe, but people who are there, they know that Maharaj actually went back to Godhead. Just the control that Maharaj had at that time. But I think that's a really real example of how everything that the spiritual master does is a bona fide spiritual master does is showing us how to go back to Godhead, whether it be in the form of detachment. Sannyas itself is a very important aspect of preparation. Detachment, very difficult to become detached in this material world, yet for a sannyasi, detachment is the core aspect of their devotional service. So it's something to learn about for us. It's not like if we can only become detached if we're sannyasis, or our preparation only starts if we go into varnashram, or if we become a sannyasi. Everything that we do should be in preparation. So whether that be for myself as someone who's young, detachment in small increments. For example, if you go out with your friends and they're all indulging in meat eating, intoxication. So obviously, regardless of the fact that I'm initiated and I follow the 4 regulative principles, just detaching myself from that situation and not being affected by it is something that I've tried to apply, and that's also something that I've tried to apply by looking at Srila Gurudev, by looking at Maharaj, and the way Maharaj also was very rigid in the way Maharaj did things, and yet he was also very very merciful and very understanding of practical situations. So yeah, I thought that quote that the spiritual master teaches us how to live and how to leave was very apt that Maharaj gave the quote himself, because all of his disciples can see really that the practical application of that instruction. So that's my realization. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Krishna. It's very good. Very good. I recollected one verse from the Bhagavad Gita on sannyas, just so that we don't think that sannyas means you have to hold that sannyas dress and have that bamboo, tridandi, not bamboo, tridandi, sannyasi and all that. So it's mentioned by Krishna. He says that one who neither hates nor desires the fruits of his activities is known to be always renounced. That's sannyas. Such a person, liberated from all dualities, easily overcomes material bondage and is completely liberated, O mighty armed Arjuna. So one who neither hates nor desires fruits of his activities. That means one should act but do not desire the fruits of his actions. I'll give you the verse here. See, this is a sannyasi. And anybody should be sannyasi. Even a student can be sannyasi too. Not only elder. Here it is. Ladies can't be, but ladies can become a renouncer. So this particular point, Krishna is telling for everyone. You see? Right. Because generally ladies cannot be sannyasins. But here, this definition, everybody is. So sannyas doesn't mean change of dress. Sannyas means much deeper, which is here. Jneyah sa nitya sannyasi yona dveshti na kankshati nirdvandvo na mohabaho sukham bandhat pramuchyate. Now here, Krishna is calling Arjuna Mahabaho, more mighty armed. Because he's telling your mighty arms will not help you to become renounced. That's why he's using the word. See, we have to understand why Krishna uses some words and same time why Arjuna uses some words for Krishna. So here it is mentioned sannyasi, renouncer. Okay. So here is, so this is the point, that one who neither hates nor desires, what desires? The fruits of his activities. That means not that one should desire anything else. You're talking about when you perform an activity with the result in mind. If you are happy or distressed with the results coming through, then you are not a sannyasi. So one who is sthitapagna is renounced. Such a person is liberated from dualities. What is dualities? Heat and cold, happiness, distress, all those things. And he easily overcomes material bondage. Bondage meaning what? Bondage meaning suffering. Any kind of suffering is bondage. Because we are bound, we are suffering. A liberated person or a detached person is always free. An attached person is always bound. Remember this point. And a detached person is always powerful as compared to an attached person. Because detached person is always simple. He says, okay, I will take this. I'll take it away. Thank you. I don't want it anyways. You see, he is completely liberated. As we saw here in the example, when you depend upon Krishna, Krishna will arrange everything. What was the chance of that person to get 1 minute the car, what Divanshi was talking about? And at the end, Krishna is saying, oh, mighty armed Arjuna. So your mighty arms is not going to help you. You may be Mr. Universe, but that's not going to help you. There is one story, I do not know the legitimacy of this, but I heard this way, that when Alexander the Great was coming to India, so he came through the Khyber Pass region, and he was in that coming towards Indian subcontinent there, As he was coming to Indian subcontinent, he came across a small hut, and he told his general to say, go inside the hut and tell this person to come out. I'm very thirsty. I need some water, So this person went in, and there was a yogi sitting inside wearing just a loincloth, he was just meditating, quietly. So this person sat inside. He did not know what was going on. He said, hey, come outside. The great has come. He said, who great has come? Alexander the Great has come. He said, Alexander the Great, who is Alexander the Great, From Babylon. So what is Babylon? I said, anyway, come out now. He said, I'm not going to come out. You go do whatever you want to do. This guy, thin guy, mendicant, sitting quietly. So this person become very bemused, He went out, he said, I can't even kill this man. If I just slap him, he'll die, But look at this arrogant this man has got, He's telling he's not coming out. So who's Alexander the Great? He may be great for you, for me, he's nobody, Alexander said, is it? Okay. Oh well, let me try then, So Alexander was very bemused. He was an intelligent person. That's why he gave Porus the whole thing, When he was Porus, King Porus said that, okay, I'll give you, treat me like a king, I like a king being treated. He said, okay, very nice. And that's when he gave back the kingdom. And ultimately he told when he died, he told that I make sure that my hands are shown when I die. Show this to the whole world. He told this to his confidant. The reason being that I try to conquer the whole earth, but when I'm dying, my hands are open. There's nothing in my hands. Okay? So this Alexander the Great came out from his horse, went inside. The mendicant is there, thin man, old man. So Alexander said, I'm Alexander. Who are you? Alexander the Great. He said, good on you. Good for you. You are great. Good for you. He says, no. He said, you shouldn't. You should respect me. He said, why should I respect you? He said, I'm Alexander the Great again, he said. Again the Great. What is this going on with your greatness, He said, then this man said, actually, you Mr. Great, whatever your name is, you are actually the servant of my servant. And that was enough for Alexander. What do you mean? You're living in this small hut, you don't have food to eat, you're wearing a loin cloth, and that's what you have. And you're calling me the servant of your servant. He said, of course, you're a servant of my servant. So he became very amused. Yeah, I said, well, are you mad or something? He said, no, I'm telling you, I can prove to you, you're a servant of my servant. He said, how can you prove that you're a servant of my servant? Tell me. Alexander became very curious, He said, simple. He said, you think you are great. Your senses are very powerful, You cannot control your senses. You're thirsty, you can't control your thirst. So Mr. Great said, I can control thirst. And my senses are under my control, and you're a servant of of your senses. So I've controlled your senses, the senses which under which you are the servant. That's what he said. That is why Krishna is telling Arjuna Mahabaho for the sannyas. Hare Krishna. Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, please. Continue. That's why we kept 2 hours today,
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Thank you for this.
Continue. Wonderful.
Thank you for this opportunity to give this opportunity to share my realization, Prabhuji. So the realization is on one of the melos of His Holiness Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj. So Maharaji said that only one way you can be intensive in devotional service, that you should have the art of forcing your own condition on the deathbed. So when one considers about death and accept the fact that one day we are all going to die, death which is due any day, it is due any moment. One cannot know how much time he or she has left with. People, including me, are ignorant of this fact, even they know it is coming. People are used to ignore and override. What people are overriding is the instruction that is coming within the heart from Krishna. We override those instructions and engage in material enjoyment, or engage in making arrangement for the enjoyment. Death, which is absolute fact, put things in perspective as you get to know that one day you have to leave this body, this material world, all the material possessions which we thought were ours, all material relationships we thought were forever. Person will leave everything behind, never to see it again, or even remember for that matter. So what is the use of all the hard work trying to earn money or power or the influence, all the effort to fit in this society, the societal norms set by people as they see fit. The people, the people who set these norms, or they were also affected by Maya. So they saw what Maya wants them to see. So everything here is controlled by Maya except for a devotee. So our primary
Very good.
activity should
Very
be
good.
Krishna consciousness. As Maharaj ji said, we keep what we need and give Krishna the rest. So what we need, so what is our basic needs? The basic needs are food, shelter, and clothes. So all this hard work uh, to earn money and spend that money to in the enjoyment is a waste of time and waste of our material body. So, and I will give the one example of Vrishabhnath Bhagwan, who was Tirthankar in Jainism. So if you look at the Vrishabhnath Bhagwan, who is an incarnation of Supreme Lord, disowned everything, his family, kingdom, and all the wealth on this earth. So what to speak, but what to speak of family or basic needs? Bhagwan Vrishabhnath were even detached from his own body. Bhagwan Vrishabhnath did not even flinch when the forest in which Bhagwan was meditating caught in a huge fire. The entire forest was consumed uh, by a fire. Yeah. The point is we have to think about where we are putting our efforts and energy, because in the end we have to leave everything behind to never to see it again. This small human life is not even a flicker of light in this huge material universe. This universe, this material universe is a very small part of entire creation. So we realize that how small we are. So every activity in this human life should be dedicated to Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Once, Prabhuji, you were discussing in advanced class, so I was just listening to it. So you were discussing about the death. So there was this incident you shared from the Bhagavatam. So in which the king of Bharatvarsha was blessed with a son after so many years of wishing for a child to continue his bloodline. I don't remember the name of the king, Prabhuji, but you will know that. But
Just a
so, but unfortunately, son died, and king was in anguish and very sad. That time, to teach instruction, Narad Muni brings back the spirit soul of the child, and Narad Muni introduces that spirit soul to the king and queen, the mother and the father. But upon that, the soul asked, "Which father or mother are these? I had many fathers and mothers in my previous births. So, which one are you talking about?" The point is that we should worry about what is going to happen after death. So, we should be detached from our uh, all this material relationships or all this material possessions. We should always engage in devotional service. So, as Maharaj ji said, we keep what we need and give Krishna the rest. And Krishna will take care of us after death. Yeah.
So nice. So nice. Maharaj will be so pleased hearing this, Maharaj would look at me and tell me, you should be punished, Ambarish. What are you doing to people, He was laughing so much, tapping on your head, tapping on my head. He said, we should be given 1,000 lashes for doing this. She said, Prabhu, what are you doing, man? Your sister and your brother-in-law will curse you now. What knowledge you are giving to Mayuresh? I send Mayuresh there so you can become material prosperous in New Zealand. You're making him a sannyasi now. He's going to become Tirthankar following Rishabdev. He said, it's okay to read about Rishabdev, but to follow him is very dangerous, man. It's wonderful. Youngsters, see, as youngsters, you are all going to get married, you all are going to have jobs, you will have your millions of dollars. Why million? You have trillions of dollars, So we should remain like caretaker, We enjoy what we have to enjoy. But then we have to understand that the results are with Krishna. So always this sannyas definition, remember. In our hand, what is in our hand is only hard work and smart work, whatever you call it, smart work, hard work. But the outcome is not in our hands. If you understand this point, then we are anxiety free. That is exactly what Vrindavan Bajbasis do, Gopis and Gopas. Any trouble, Krishna. Any happiness, Krishna. That's it. Wonderful. Excellent.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes.
So this in that melo you sent, that was like I was struggling with a decision. So I go to work early in the morning. So during the bus ride, I chant. So after chanting, I was thinking about that, what to decide, like what to do. And then I was just finishing my chanting. Then I just said like, Krishna will help me decide what is right. And I got off the bus and I was just checking my phone. And actually, you send this melo, the realization I shared about. Send that the day before, and I checked that, opened the message and checked that melo and read it. So suddenly I realized that, yeah, so we should consider our position when we die. So it puts things in perspective, like what is more important to you. So yeah, that Prabhuji helped, Prabhuji.
Very nice. Don't leave the dhoti of your Mamaji,
Yes, Prabhuji.
It's very fortunate that you have association and living in a family of devotees. You know, if your Mamaji, if it is like their other Kansa, it will be very difficult, dangerous, Or even that Shakuni, he's a good mama. If I had mama like this staying, I would never leave him only, After marriage also, I'll say, I'm going to stay with you only. I'll get my wife and children, you manage. Wonderful. All the best to you. All good wishes are for you. You'll always succeed in life. All the best. Hare Krishna. Very nice. Very nice. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So nice to hear everyone's realizations. I'm just thinking that, Soumya Mataji and Divyanshi and also Mayuresh, all the youngsters are giving such beautiful realizations, and they are also connecting with Krishna, getting the realization and acknowledging Krishna's action in their life. That is so important. I mean, it happens. Miracles happen when you come to Krishna consciousness, but acknowledging that is because of Krishna, that is such a great thing in itself. So yeah, it's very, very inspiring to hear all your nice realizations. My realization is also based upon the same one that Krishna Samarpan Krishna Prabhu said, where a spiritual master teaches us how to live and how to lead. And whenever I think about, so when we think about how we are learning in our lives how to live, we always look at our elders, our parents, our grandparents, our uncle, aunt, our mamas and mammies and everyone, around us. And we learn a lot by observation. We are not taught everything as in books. You learn your education from your school, and then you also learn how to behave, how to speak, how to be respectful, and those traits also in our lives. And everyone is still so different, everybody exhibits the traits differently. So similarly, I was thinking when I observed a spiritual master, His Holiness Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj, the one thing that I always felt, was the genuinity in everything that was done. And the same thing I felt about Srila Prabhupada as well, that there was nothing which was show business. So something, you're showing something and you are doing something else, or your thought is somewhere else. So there was so much parity in the actions and the thought process, and there was so much genuinity. And I think that brings about the success of what they achieved in their lives. And so I feel that quality really attracted me a lot. Like, you can do a lot of things. There's one quote of Maharaj I always remember: in trying to save your face, you're killing your soul. And I thought it was so deep, because sometimes we can get caught up in I want to be projected. I want to project myself as I'm very good, I'm such a nice person, and all those things, and that's all right. But in doing that, what we are actually and what we are trying to show we are can have a lot of disparity, and we can get lost in all those things, and then the genuinity factor just goes out of the door. So I feel that no matter what, we may make mistakes, and it's okay to make mistakes. We are all human. We may not do things perfectly. Nobody is perfect. But if we have the genuinity in ourselves, in our actions, in our thought process, then at least we are not cheating our own self. We may cheat the whole world, but what's the point? Ultimately, we're not going to go anywhere. I mean, when you talk about in material life also, there are self-assessment tests. So in spiritual life also, we have to do our self-assessment all the time. And we have to see if there was any progress from where I started and now where I am, or I'm just where I was, or I'm degrading, or what is happening. So I felt that that all the small and the big instructions that we got from our spiritual master were really amazing. And then we were very also fortunate to actually be physically present when Srila Gurudev left this material world for the spiritual abode. And we also were witness to how one should live. But as Krishna Samarpan Krishna Prabhu pointed rightly, that you have to prepare your life for that moment. Yet I think that you don't know when it is going to come. So when you want to go to, say, for example, you want to go from New Zealand to India, then you're going to board this plane at this time, and it's going to come at this time, and then you just prepare yourself to board that plane. But we don't know when we are going to leave this body. So because we don't know, and as I said, that comes to us without notice, then we should be ready for it anytime. And every moment of our life, we should be living in such a way that the time when we have to leave doesn't baffle us. And I'm saying this, but this is not something that I have achieved at all. I'm just giving that realization. This is something that I want to achieve in my life, trying to. So yeah, this was, and then also the instruction from Srila Gurudev about even the small things, like as Avinash Krishna Prabhuji mentioned about cleanliness, inside and outside. Both is important. Srila Gurudev used to say that, once cleanliness is known from their shaving kit, or even Maharaj used to say that, you should get up, you take your, before Mangalarti, you take your shower, and your clothes should be hanging outside, washed and hanging outside. And I remember when Maharaj had visited New Zealand, I could see we were attending the Mangalarti at 4:30. And as we were going, I could see the clothes are already hanging outside. Maharaj's clothes were already there. So everything that was told was practically implemented. And we are very, very fortunate, because I feel that, even the young devotees, you're very fortunate, because sometimes these lessons are not taught to us about how to live or how to deal with a situation. And Krishna consciousness and just reading the scriptures and just association of devotees definitely helps you to put a perspective on how you can live your life. Hare Krishna.
Yes, thank you. That's very important, that how many of you may not have met Srila Prabhupada. I've not met Srila Prabhupada. And many of you may not have met Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj. But we can relive, live again what those devotees have experienced when they give the realizations. So whenever somebody is giving their experience, I listen to it very attentively, because that person is giving his heart at that time. This is what I experienced. Anyone it is. And it is a free ticket for you to ride in that person's, car of memory and experience, so that you can learn from that person's experience it yourself, and don't repeat it. Or if you want to do it, then repeat it also if you want to be. It is an intelligent person is that who learns from others' mistakes. Is a first-class person. And I want all of you, I'm sure you are, I'm not that, but I want all of you to be like this. The second-class person is that person who learns from his or her mistake. The third-class person is that person who sees others making mistake and makes the same mistake. And the fourth-class person is that person who makes mistakes, suffers, and again makes the same mistake. That's fourth class. And we all want to become first class. If nothing else, at least our life will be successful, and people will come to you. Man, how come you are like this? I said, well, I learned from your mistakes. I look at you very carefully. I'm flattering you, And when you make those mistakes, I don't make those mistakes. So I'm somehow so thankful to Krishna that we have got this facility and now the organization with devotees, that we can share these experiences that we have experienced. And all of you, if you can absorb this, like devotees are doing, then you can also relive those experiences. Because a great personality, a pure devotee of Krishna, lives with the instructions, very much alive in the instructions. And it's not theory, it's a fact. You can experience the life that person is living with you, the blessing, So great, thank you. Hare Krishna, please continue.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you everyone, all Matajis and Prabhujis, for giving their nice, very, very nice and relevant realizations. And I'm so fortunate to be in the shelter of His Holiness Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj. And this is all mercy of Amrish Prabhu and Pragya Mataji, because otherwise we never knew who is Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj. And they are the one who actually guided us, took us, because we were nowhere. So thank you, Amrish Prabhu and Mataji. Maharaj was he was very famous as a laughing sannyasi, always very happy, shining face, and whosoever came in his contact, even if he is very stressed out, he will start feeling blissful. So yeah, I'm sharing my realization from one of his transcendental mellows, which Amrish Prabhu has actually shared with us. So worry or chinta has a very harmful effect on our mind and body. His Holiness Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj would quote below Hindi doha and Sanskrit verse as instructions to stop us from worrying. That's very typical of Maharaj. He was always quoting nice verses from Bhagavatam or Hindi Doha or anything, just to make us feel what we should realize. So the Doha is like this: चिंता से चतुराई घटे, घटे रूप और ज्ञान, चिंता बड़ी अभागिनी, चिंता चिता समान. That means worry destroys our wisdom. It destroys our charm, health, and speech. It is full of ill fortune. It burns us just like the funeral pyre. So never worry about anything. That's most of the time we are worrying about, especially in this corona times, for our health, for our wealth, for our dear ones, near ones, our jobs, everything. But why to worry when Krishna is there to protect us? But that doesn't go in my head. Anxieties really kill us alive. In this regard, Maharaj used to quote a nice Subhashita. Chintayastu chitayastu bindu matram visheshatah sajivam dahate chinta nirjivitam dahate chita. That means there is merely the difference of a bindu, dot, between chita, funeral pyre, and chinta, worry. Chita burns the dead body and chinta burns those who are alive. So when we write in Hindi, I think all Hindi bhashis would know, chinta, we just put a little dot. That's the only difference between chita and chinta. So why not do Atma Chintan, self-realization, for which we have taken birth? Those who are attracted towards Krishna consciousness, Srila Prabhupada calls them intelligent. As soon as we start chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Krishna starts taking more interest in us. There's spiritual world where this chinta or worry does not exist, and it's called Vaikuntha Dham. Vai means without, and Kuntha means anxiety, a place where anxiety does not exist. So chinta, worry, anxiety, stress, all these have negative effect on our body and our health, mind, everywhere. And sometimes lead to depression, which is effectively affecting many youngsters to coming suicide. Krishna consciousness can change people's lives and save them from this degradation. It's a very big problem in current society, actually. The stress level. Everywhere the stress level is like this. That's why she committed suicide, he committed suicide. Even small children are actually suffering from stress nowadays. So Srila Prabhupada has given such a nice solution for this. Just chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra and be happy. Why to stress for? So, yeah, that's my realization for this time. Thank you, Hare Krishna, everyone.
Thank you, Mother. Hare Krishna, for a wonderful realization. Very nice.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all the devotees who share their realization. They are very wonderful. I will try my best to say what I want to. My realization is from one of the transcendental Milo from Guru Maharaj's calendar. So what you do in the temple, you please do at home. Don't be one person here and one person there. This duplicity destroys us. We sinfully hide and run from everyone just to be caught and hung by Mrityu. This is the real embracement. So I was a couple of days before, when I was having conversation with my friend, and she was saying that it's a lockdown going to happen and everything is closed, temples also closed and all. And I remember this quote from Guru Maharaj. So what I think is, thank you to Guru Maharaj. This instruction he gives us very earlier, and I realized that we can attend the Mangalarti in the temple and we can do the Mangalarti at home.
we can sometimes cook in the temple, and we can cooking bhoga at home as well. We can do everything what we do in the temple. We can the same thing we can do at home as well. So there is no difference. So that's what Guru Maharaj is saying to us. Only thing is that we need to do our sincere devotional service to achieve this. And the second example is Amrish Puri actually. So after COVID hit, we are not conducting Namahata actually physically. We used to attend into the Newlin, but it start on the Zoom as well. So we are having and because of that, I felt it's devotees are like giving more and more nice realizations and good experience. So it's only Amrish Prabhuji's like sincerity that he's taking the program, continuing the program, and we just need to take that advantage. And that's opportunity. So we can be as well. We can try to be, especially me. I should try to be sincere. So this Guru Maharaj for giving this instruction in advance. I'm trying my best to be same person in a temple and same person at home. So this is my realization for today. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Jai, wonderful. Thank you very much, Mother. Maharaj revolutionizes this, Maharaj said, no problem. I remember once what happened, Maharaj were telling me this point, So Maharaj were in some temple in Mumbai, I think Mumbai temple, ISKCON temple. So a lady came in, a young girl, She said, I want to talk to Maharaj. She said, yes. She went and said, Maharaj, I have a problem. I want to ask a solution. He said, yes. He said, I am a devotee. He said, yes. My parents are not devotees. Maharaj said, okay. He said, I want to come to temple, but my parents don't want me to go to temple. What should I do? So Maharaj was telling me this. I'm repeating Maharaj's word. Maharaj said, she was expecting me to say, don't listen to your parents and come to temple, So she was saying, they are not devotee, I am devotee, She didn't understand Maharaj's mood, So Maharaj said, if your parents don't want you to come to temple, don't come to temple. She said, what? He said, you can perform devotional service even at home. You should not displease your parents. She couldn't believe it. He was one of those revolutionary devotees who said, the same thing program you can do, why don't you do a temple at home? You convert your home into temple. How beautiful it is. How beautiful it is just to think on this, And if you don't have big altar, have a small altar. If you don't have altar, no problem. I'm telling you, when we do preaching programs, when we go to outside places, where we cook in those things and all that, So when we're cooking, and there'll be no photos of Krishna or Prabhupada. I have done it. We open Bhagavad Gita book. Prabhupada photo is there at the back. We put that photograph. And Krishna's photo is there. We put that photograph and offer bhoga. What do we cook to the photos like this? And that is then bhoga is taken, a prasad distributed to hundreds of people. We have done this. Devotees do it all the time. So, and Maharaj would say that do not. These other devotees were doing this, and I was a witness with them. I was doing it. And Maharaj said to me this, and I'm sharing with you, that do not, somehow or other, do not curb bhakti. Bhakti cannot be controlled or curbed. Don't artificially do this. Bhakti means remembrance of Krishna. Remember this. What is bhakti meaning? Always remember Krishna. And second, never forget Krishna. That's it. There is nothing else to this. Everything that we are doing. Now for that, whatever you want to do, Mangalarti, this is you do. And you don't have, if I go to Vrindavan only, then I will do. This is nonsense. Vrindavan means what? Vraj meaning what? Remembrance of Krishna. You can have remembrance of Krishna in your home, man. In a sofa set, sit, open Bhagavad Gita, read. We are having online discussions, And when the whole week we are busy with our work, business, this, that, problems. So when you get time, open the book, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhāgavatam, we read, think about it. We read and think about it. That's it, remembrance of Krishna. And chant rounds if you can chant some rounds. If you can't chant on the beach, chant on your fingers. No problem. No problem. Do not restrict bhakti. At the same time, do not make it cheap because it is not restrictable. Please remember this point. Don't make bhakti cheap. It's a very precious gift because it is this gift which Krishna likes and loves. It's the only thing which Krishna really adores. You know, I would like to say one point in this, that a devotee of Krishna is called a Deva, demigod. And devotees of demigods are called asuras, demons. Okay, so this is mentioned in the Padma Puran. Dau bhuta sargo lokesmin daiva asura evacha Vishnu bhakta smuto daiva asurastad viparyayah. So anyone who's a devotee of the law of Lord Krishna is called a Deva. And others, even though they may be devotees of demigods, are called asuras. See, example is there. Ravan, for example, was a great devotee of Lord Shiva. But he is described as an asura. Similarly, Hiranyakashipu was a great devotee of Lord Brahma. Yet he is also called an asura. He was also called an asura. Therefore, only the devotee of Lord Vishnu is called Sura, not Asura. Lord Krishna is very much pleased. Remember this, underline these points, okay? Lord Krishna is very much pleased with his devotees, even if they are not on the topmost stage of devotional service. Even on the lower stages of devotional service, one is transcendental. And if one continues with devotional life, he continues to be a Deva or Asura. Continuity is very important. If one continues in this way, Krishna will always be pleased with him and give him all instructions so that he may very easily return home back to Godhead. Hare Krishna. Wonderful. So don't artificially restrict Bhakti Yoga. Yes, please continue. Hari Bol. Okay, we are finished? Nobody more?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, okay, Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you very much for your very wonderful realization. Actually, rather than sharing my realization, actually, I was very excited to hear more and more from other devotees. So it was very nice to listen to all this realization. I think every realization I'm learning new, and yeah, it's just actually Krishna is reminding us with all these instructions all the time. So actually, I was would like to share one realization. This is from one of the transcendental melo from His Holiness Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj. This was actually sent by Amrish Prabhu in 2018, May 18. We are suffering because we are not following Srimad Bhagavatam. Actually, Bhagavatam should be dear to us, more dear to us than breathing. Breathing only helps body, but Srimad Bhagavatam helps the body and soul. So Bhagavatam is more important than breathing. This is not only decoration of language, but it is necessity. Why should we ignore the necessity? So, as we all know, actually, Maharaj actually instructions are very strong, and and they're very deep realization. Means actually, I have been actually reading these melos for a long time now. But as we go, even the same melo comes again and again, the realization is very different. So here Maharaj is talking about actually the importance of Srimad Bhagavatam, and Maharaj is saying that is more important than breathing. So as we know, what could be more important than breathing? If you stop breathing, we die. So basically what Maharaj is saying, that if we actually forget Bhagavatam, if we do not follow Bhagavatam, basically we are killing our soul. So it is very important. And when we say Srimad Bhagavatam, so it is Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and also it is the instruction from our Shiksha Gurus or Diksha Gurus. So we must actually follow that actually very sincerely. And that is actually means nowadays we're learning to actually implement the instruction in our practical lives. And here is talking about Srimad Bhagavatam. And there is very famous verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, which talks about person Bhagavatam and book Bhagavatam. Very famous verse we actually recite at the start of every program. So Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, verse 18. Nashta prayeshu badreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttam shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I will just read the translation. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of the service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. And loving service unto the personality of Godhead, whose praise with transcendental song is established as an irrevocable fact. So as you read the translation, it's very powerful translation. Means actually I can recall actually very first time actually when I heard this verse and I read the translation. And actually I was really surprised, the way it is written. That by regular attendance in classes on Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the devotees, it says all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. And when I read that, actually, it just grabbed my attention. I said, how is that possible? All that is troublesome to your heart is completely destroyed. So as we know, our heart is always troubled by so many issues. There's so many problems. And I decided that, then I said, okay, I'm going to try this, let's see what happens. And I've been actually since then, actually, there is also Maharaj's another important melo where Maharaj says that if you read Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a solution to all the problems in this world. And yeah, I still remember at that time when I heard this, and I actually I just wondered, is it just exaggeration, of the Bhagavatam? How can actually you find the solution to the material things? I can understand actually you try to achieve the spiritual goals, you read the spiritual books like Srimad Bhagavatam and you will progress. But actually the world that we're living, is a Kali Yuga and so-called very advanced civilization. And we have very different issues, every day we go to the work and we have, so many different problems, the politics and corporate world and this and that. And I used to think, how can I find a solution to these problems? So when I heard that actually, so whenever I'm troubled, actually going through issues, I always remember this Maharaja's instruction. And I just sit down and open the Bhagavatam and start reading. And to my surprise, even if you start anywhere, there is always an instruction that always gives you the understanding, where the actually root cause of the problem. And most of the time, the root cause is where the root cause most of the time of the problem, because it is stemming from either our behavior or the way we are handling the situation. So this is my realization that actually it is so true that actually if you are actually looking for solution, and if you read Bhagavatam, then you are always bound to get instruction that will help you solve the issue. So I can actually you can actually trial it, and you will see it for yourself. It's very important to actually find this solution. Even Srila Prabhupada's one of the purport. I will just read that. Actually, this translation to one of the Srimad Bhagavatam verse. Okay. So this is a translation to Srimad Bhagavatam verse, Canto 6, Chapter 2, verse 19. So Srila Prabhupada wrote, if a person is unaware of the effective potency of a certain medicine, if a person is unaware of the effective potency of a certain medicine, takes that medicine or is forced to take it, it will act even without his knowledge, because its potency does not depend on the patient's understanding. Similarly, even though one does not know the value of chanting the holy name of the Lord, if one chant knowingly or unknowingly, the chanting will be very effective. So it's very important instruction, So when we actually start following this path, the first thing they teach us, is to chant the holy name of the Lord, and they say just add Krishna and everything will fall in place. So many of our devotees who are actually following this program, actually they all have this realization, Initially, I used to think, how can actually chanting is going to actually solve all the problems? But when you chant, and when you chant sincerely, you will see the difference, slowly, all the actually things that is actually troubling your devotional service will actually get away from you. And so it will actually help you to actually progress in your devotional service. So even if it is chanting or reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, or just the following the instruction of your Shiksha Guru or Diksha Guru, when you do that, it is always going to help to solve your material problem as well as your spiritual problem. So means I have been actually hearing all this actually melos and instructions so long, and I can see the effect now, even now on daily basis, actually we go to our material jobs, and you actually means, actually how it is in the corporate life or in any job, you're always faced with so many issues and troubles, and you try to solve that, and whenever I solve any problem, normally actually it gives me happiness, I suddenly become happy, and we think that we are the actually, I have solved this, So for a fraction of a second, we think that actually we are very, intelligent or something like that. And all of a sudden, this actually instruction comes from a back of your heart in saying, oh, actually do not take credit, Actually, one who actually takes credit for their work is a miser, So all of a sudden again, it's just like, the balloon is just popped, So that's what I realized, means all the time it happens to me. Whenever I say, okay, all the time I remember the instruction, Krishna actually, the person who does not get, very extremely happy or extremely sorrow, when there is actually ups and downs in his life, he's very dear to Krishna. So whenever, good things happen, actually I always remember this instruction, I should not be very jubilant or something like that, I should see this as actually Krishna's, helping hand to actually, he's helping us to actually get back, progress on our devotional path. So all the time, is Maharaja's transcendental melos and all that is always back of your mind, whenever you're dealing with your people and everything. So it's always helping you all the time. Even actually today's realization, like I was walking and chanting in the afternoon, and all of a sudden I got distracted, by, I just on the street, I got distracted, and then I actually disturbed my chanting, and I just stopped. And I remember this instruction, whenever you get distracted by these material things that will attract you, you should spit on that thought, and actually you should focus, in your devotional service. And then I said to myself, okay, that Jai Shri Prabhupada, I said, I should not actually worry about this problem. And I just actually asked for the actually forgiveness, and I again started chanting. So, that's how actually Krishna is protecting you all the time, even you're chanting, even if you're getting distracted, all the time, Krishna, if you actually sincerely pray, to actually, Krishna, please help me to improve my chanting. is always helping you all the time. So that is what I realized. So the prayer is very important. So as you pray more and more, actually you can actually test, the Krishna's, the bhakti, and it works. If you want to improve your chanting, if you want to improve your devotional service, then all the melos that actually we read on daily basis from His Holiness Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj, so they are the actually instruction from Bhagavatam. So we should actually take it very seriously, as Maharaj says that actually the Srimad Bhagavatam is more important than breathing. So how can we ignore that? So we know that actually means I myself is very busy with actual material job nowadays, and all the time it's hard to find a time. Like last Wednesday, actually I was working until 6, and all of a sudden I realized, oh, it's the Wednesday. I haven't prepared anything. And actually, what should I do? And just I stopped my work, actually opened the verse, I started reading. And I was actually I said to Krishna, I said, I got so less time, how I'm going to prepare and how I'm going to actually get the realization and what I'm going to share. And I was doing that. I read the actually verse completely. And all of a sudden, my boss walked into the room. And he said, what are you doing here all the time? Everybody's gone. Go home. I said, just give me 5 minutes when I'm going to finish this, what I'm reading, and then I will go. And then I just read it, and I just said to myself, I think, okay, just remember the translation, and I will actually meditate on this on the way back. And that's how I actually, and as you think, it gave me hours, almost hours drive from my home. And I actually thought about every point. And when I got home, I quickly again went back into the actually Bhagavad Gita. I found the references, I read it, and Krishna always helping you. Even if you want to actually get a realization, Krishna is help you to get a realization. So that is what I'm actually nowadays I'm experiencing, that more and more you become dependent on Krishna. Actually, your life gets easier and easier. So that is my instruction. And as it says that actually by regular attendance in Srimad Bhagavatam class and rendering the service to pure devotees. So one thing is all your troubles will go away. And second thing, it says the loving service unto the personality of Godhead, whose praise with the transcendental song is established an irrevocable fact. So this is actually ultimate goal of all the devotees, to actually realize their position and realize their relationship with the God. And by doing only these things, actually, which seems quite simple, that following the Srimad Bhagavatam and actually rendering the service of the devotees. But if we put that in practice, then even now, actually, this goal seems very far away. Somehow we can able to actually get near and near to that goal as we actually implement this instruction. And that is what I'm realizing. Amrish Prabhu once said that actually devotee's life, in the devotee's life, every moment should be a realization. So, long time ago I heard that. And I was thinking, actually, yeah, I think we should actually remember Krishna and try to realize from all the experience how actually Krishna is helping us. So that is what I realized from this actually transcendental melo by His Holiness Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Very wonderful realization. Thank you very much, Sri Prabhu. Very nice. We can learn and implement so many things from this, Wonderful. Hari Bol. Yes, please feel free. Anyone else to say? I see Priyanka is here. Hare Krishna, Priyanka. Can you hear us? Or you at work?
Hare Krishna, Guruji.
Not Guruji, bhai.
Prabhuji.
I'm a kangaroo. I'm kangarooji. That is better. Don't make me Guruji. Anyway, nice to see you.
Thank you.
You're doing all right?
Yes, I'm fine.
What we are discussing today is everything about devotees' realizations, So based upon what messages we send to them, based upon that, we found it is very inspiring, For many, many years, since we implemented it, people's bhakti increases listening to others' realizations, It is helping me also so much. Are you enjoying it?
Yes.
Good. Very nice. All the best. If you want to speak, please feel free. No problem. Listen.
Okay.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, anyone else like to say something, please? We are nearly completing now, or we can have a question answer session. Please feel free. Anyone else? No? Okay. All right. Does anyone have any questions so far for 3 weeks on what we have discussed? Any burning questions, steering questions? Don't think I can answer the question, but we can try.
I've got a question, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji. Haribol.
The question is actually from other devotees, Divyanshi, Anand Sharma ji, and Parth. These people keep asking me this question. I try my level best. I think we can have one session on that subject matter.
Okay.
And probably Soumya will also relate to this. Is they keep asking me that if we talk to some new person, why don't they become devotee? And yesterday, Divyanshi was telling me, Prabhuji, what should I say so that they become a devotee? Correct, Divyanshi? That was the question?
Prabhuji, my exact question is that I was just, whenever somebody asks me if I'm a religious person or if I believe in God or something, I say yes, that I do. And then they ask me like about religion, and then I just say what Prabhupada always says, that religion is just about teaching people how to love God. So if somebody if a person just asks me, why do you love God? My question was that what do I tell him that in a way that he would understand, because I could say so many things like not that he begins to love God himself, but that he understands what I'm trying to say. Because if I tell them things like, but God has given us so many things, God has created this world and everything, then they have all these theories to back this up, like the theory of evolution and everything, and they're like, no, God hasn't created anything, why do you love God? And then it gets a very complicated conversation from that point on. So I was just wondering that how to answer that question in a very simple and a crisp way.
Yes, bro. This question keeps coming back to me. I try my best, and they always get surprised. They are getting actually enthused about what we are doing, and they really want to influence their family members and friends that, come on, you also can do this. You can. So I don't know if we can touch on this subject matter. I tell them about give Prabhupada books and look for this and that, but I think we should spend some time on this one. It suits if it suits you.
Yes. I remember one devotee, he is a Christian devotee, and he said to me, it's a Fiji body, he said, when I came to this philosophy, I was so surprised and so happy, and I became a devotee, So, but then when I told this philosophy to my relatives and friends, they were not interested at all. They were just not keen at all what's going on. He said this point, they're totally baffled. I said, okay, well, so what, they're not ready, whatever it is, So the first thing that happens when we are happy is that we want to share it with people whom we love, which is wonderful. This is how it should be. We must share it with people whom we love, and with people whom we don't love also. That is preaching, because we love everybody to that extent, Now, with regards to Divyanshi, when you say that if you tell them a religion is to love God, and the question is asked, but why do you want to love God? So you're asking a question as to what should I answer, which is simple and straightforward and crisp. 2-second answer. People don't have more than that much time to. कड़क मिठी खुशबूदार गिरनार ममरिक चाय जो कोई पिए वो ही मांगे गिरनार ममरिक चाय 20 seconds and finished. You have to go into गिरनार ममरिक चाय हॉकिंस की सीटी बजे खुशबू ही खुशबू उड़े मजेदार लज्जतदार खाना है तैयार Murg masalam, tomato soup, butter pulao, maan ki dal, jeera dum aloo. हर व्यंजन स्वादिष्ट बनाए, मिनटों में झटपट पकाए. Hawkins pressure cooker. What is it? बरसों चले, वाजिब चले, बरसों चले. Hawkins pressure cooker. So many old ads. These are jingle ads, people remember, So what do we say that people will remember this? They put everything in this basket, Okay. Well, the answer is that what makes you love God? Whenever people are distributing books on the streets, I have heard those people who are very good at it. Every day they go out on the streets. In India, they don't do so much. In the Western world, some devotees try to do that, regularly. So they say that people, I remember asking this question, and they said that people see how convinced you are, and then they'll buy the book. Yeah? So, you must find out, why do you love Krishna? When you find out that answer, you are loving Krishna. You are trying to love Krishna. So because Krishna is God, Krishna does this, Krishna does that, all these things correct. That's absolutely right. We all have got our individual relationship with Krishna. We go through Radharani. But there is something which attracts us to Krishna. That chintan, that thought you must have. And when you find that out, refine that thought, pinpoint it. That is your answer you will get. Other answers are my realizations, which are to tell you, and you have to convince yourself, and with that conviction, others should see. So the process is a bit of hodgepodge. It's a heart-to-heart process. So we give you philosophy, we give you practical realizations, and your answer is what that person is asking for. He's not asking for my answer. Correct? Logic train? Does it make sense to you? Just like if you ask a question to your friend, why do you like this? He said, I'll go and ask that person there. He said, no, I would have asked him. Why do you need to ask him? This is common sense. What I'm saying is not some big tattva gnan philosophy. This is common sense. And that's why they said common sense is uncommon. Yeah? So you think about it. It's a challenge for us. Why do you love Krishna? This question has remained with me forever. So for some people it's very easy. For my wife, it is very easy. I love Krishna because simple. I've come to my realization, I love Krishna because I'm mad. There's no other answer. I'm preaching because I'm mad. Probably I don't have anything else to do, But anyway, besides jokes apart, please try to find out yourself. And as you're beginning in your bhakti, the more you are focused, the more you can progress very fast. For that, we have to dive deep into ourselves and do the process. There is no crisp answer from me, because my crisp answer is not your crisp answer, with that person is checking out with you, asking you. Yeah, otherwise it's like the jingle which I shared, two jingles, which has been hammered onto my brain, and I'm just remembering the jingles, But this is more than jingle. This is a heart-to-heart process. Is this okay? This is your homework to do.
Yes, Prabhu.
Not my homework. I'm very easy to pass forward, homework back to you, Volleyball, volleyball. So in jobs, you have practice, So the one ball comes here, you should push back again, So people here play volleyball in politics, Your handle. No, I'm you handle, you handle. It's called volleyball. So we use the same thing in spiritual things also. But this is truth. What I've spoken to you is the truth. Is it truth? Yes or no? Your friend wants to know your realization, right? Not my realization, correct? That is the truth. Okay. No, don't hassle Avinash Krishna. Poor chap, he's thinking about you, all of you asking. One thing is important. Do not think that we can preach to anybody and they'll become devotee. No. You all experience here that we are preaching, we do this, we do that. You've got, devotees association you're having online, and they're guiding you. You hear the realizations. As you will progress, things will be revealed to you that actually there's a lot of prayers that go behind. A lot of prayers for everyone's benefit. Your prayers, and when Krishna is satisfied, when Krishna is happy, then he will make the arrangement to make them into devotees. We can't do anything. Otherwise, we'll have to sell Hawkins pressure cooker and make some money, So people sell Krishna and make money. We are not in that business of making money. Otherwise, I'll give you a nice jingle, Jing, 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 jing. Krishna, Krishna, Radha, Radha, Bollywood songs are made on Radha also. Today I was watching that in the morning. I was reading Bhagavatam. I was checking a few things before I start to read, any news and all those things. So I heard this Bollywood star, Hollywood star, that Will Smith on dancing, Radha Tere Chunri and all those things. He's dancing. I said, my God, nonsense. Radha, they're making it so cheap. He said, this is how they make money on Radha. They are not singing because they love Radha. Even the song was not made because they love Radha. The song which was made because it was fitting into that whatever situation, and Radha is there and people are there and they're dancing Radha, Radha, and all this going on. When I heard for the first time, I went to India, they all were dancing on the same song, like Radha this, Radha that. They're just making money, foolish people, donkeys. And their parents are happy, they die like this, donkeys only, So, anyone who, if we want to sell Krishna through you, we can make a nice jingle and song for you. So please, you pray to Krishna. If you really want somebody to become devotee, you pray to Krishna, but don't force Krishna. Just pray to him. Say, please, and you must pray this way, that if you feel right, then whatever I have learned from Srila Prabhupada's teachings, credit goes to Prabhupada. Remember this point. Whatever Srila Prabhupada is taught in these books, if you think it is okay, I want to try to give this knowledge to this person. Please make it appropriate for my speech so I can share what Prabhupada has said. That's it. Don't ask anything more. You repeat the words, and Krishna will give you the strength. Prabhupada said, when people went to a book distribution, his disciples said, Prabhupada, there is book, and I was talking this question and that question. Prabhupada said, rascal, when you give my book to them, you leave. Get out of there. I will talk to them through my books. Do you understand? So yes, Prabhupada. So
Avinash Prabhu said the same thing, that just give the book and get out of the situation.
Yes. So in these situations, if you want to talk about somebody, you find a deep core of your heart, why do you love Krishna? So give that answer, I love Krishna because. And then with that the prayer, if your discussion goes further, say please, if you feel like speak through my power of speech and action, the Prabhupada says, and then everything runs very smoothly. This is my secret, this is the truth. And I'm sharing with you this open secret. This is okay? Very nice. Very nice. Anything else I would like to say, please, before we finish today's discussion?
Prabhuji, I had another question.
Yes, please.
Like Krishna is a friend of everyone, right? All the living entities. So I know that he protects his devotees and like how he's a friend of the devotees. But for somebody who's not a devotee, how is Krishna a friend for somebody who's not a devotee? Because for that person, he's just getting the reward of the things that he's done in his past lives. or the things that he's done in this life. So he's just getting the reaction of what he has done. So in his immediate life, how does Krishna play a role apart from his karma, whether it is of past life or current life?
Good question. For a devotee who does not know that Krishna is God, how can he help that person to become devotee? Right? That's what he's saying. Correct?
No, what I'm asking Prabhuji is that how is Krishna a friend for somebody who is not a devotee? Like, because for a person who's not prayed to Krishna, who's not involved Krishna in his life, for that person, the only thing that influences in his immediate life is the things that he is doing currently, he has done in his past life or in his life.
Yes.
Like everything in his immediate surroundings is affected by his own past karma. So how does Krishna play? How is Krishna a friend to this person?
Okay. There's a Bhagavad Gita verse on this. Okay. I'll share this verse with you. Okay. Here it is. Samoham apsu kaunte samoham sarva bhuteshu name dveshyosti na priyaha ye bhajanti mam tu mam bhaktya mahiteshu chapyaham mahiteteshu chapyaham. So samaha means equal, equally disposed, equally disposed. Aham means I, Krishna is saying. Sarva bhuteshu means all living entities. Okay. Name dveshyo, dvesh means what? Hateful, anger. Name, I'm not angry at anybody. Asti na priyaha, nor dear. Ye bhajanti tu mama bhaktya. Ye bhajanti, those. Ye means those. Bhajanti means who worship me or render service to me, transcendental service. Not worship. See, Prabhupada is given the definition is render transcendental service. Not just bhajan, not just remembering him. Actually is working for him. Tu mam bhaktya, my devotee, unto me, mam unto me, bhaktya, and in devotion. Mahitete suchapyaham, so unto me, such persons, they means those people. In them, cha also api, certainly, aham, I. So here it's saying that I envy no one, okay, nor am I partial to anyone. I'm equal to all. This is for everyone, okay? But then he puts a caveat to that. He said, but whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I'm also a friend to him. So as long as we are not devotee to Krishna, he is equal to everyone. He doesn't interfere in anyone's personal business. Okay? But the moment somebody is in difficulty and they say, God, please pray to me, help me. They may not know who God is, they may not know. But if they pray to some demigod, then demigod will help. But demigod also has to take permission from Krishna. Okay? But if he say, God help me, then God will help. Krishna will help. And Krishna says that those who do not understand this, don't change it too often, too fast for them. They'll gradually progress. So don't worry about it. Excuse me. So this is how Krishna is equal to all. And at the same time, Krishna is not equal to all also. But for those who render service to him, he's a friend. Krishna says, he's a friend, he's my friend. He's in me, and I'm also a friend to him. So for them, those who are not his friend, he's equal. That is the most important thing. He's not unequal. Krishna doesn't say that, okay, you go on to hell, But their karma plays its part. Devotees also karma plays its part. And devotees don't expect Krishna to stop their karmas. But it is understood, it is inferred by the acharyas to say that the impact is a bit less. Okay? So this answer is in the inference. So that he is equal to all is by itself big thing. Is it not so? Tell me one thing. If you have got a set of friends, if you say I'm equal to my friends and the whole world, will you say like this? You say, no, I'm special to my friends. I don't know the whole world. I don't care about the whole world. Correct? So that's why when Krishna says I'm equal to all, this itself is a benediction. Those who do not know me, he said equal to them. To devotees also, non-devotees also. But among devotees who are serving him, he is a friend, he is in me, I am also a friend to him. And slowly, as they pray to Krishna, in whatever, as a God or as Krishna, then he increases faith as he gives responses. Like you got experience, how Krishna responds, reciprocates. That's why they reciprocate. Krishna reciprocates with them also. And their level, they start at a particular level. You start at a particular level. And most important thing, you understood this point so far? Okay, and the most important thing is a devotee touch for that person. That is why good that you want to influence your friends and relatives to become devotees. But for you, you have to understand you cannot do this on your own. So you have to pray to Krishna so that whatever you have been taught in the program, okay, so give credit to the people who are teaching you, like Avinash and all, you know. And as you give credit to them, and big credit goes to Prabhupada. And if you feel it is right, speak to my mouth. Perfect my power of speech and actions. And speak to me. They will speak. It's up to them. A devotee does not ask anything more. This is the point. Is this okay? Sure?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes.
Yeah. And another verse is there in this, is that Krishna says further, when this important verse, you know, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha duskritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Your Mahabharat television serial will have this all the time, you know. So here he's saying, he's putting another caveat, in order to deliver the pious, Paritranaya sadhunam. Paritranaya means to deliver, to uplift them. Sadhunam means to devotees, his devotees. Vinashaya duskritam, to kill, annihilate. Dushkritam, miscreants, non-devotees. Dharma samsthapanarthaya. Dharma means principles of religion. Samsthapanarthaya means to re-establish. Sambhavami yuge yuge. I appear millennium after millennium. So here he says why he comes. What we saw is he's equal to everybody, but those who render service to him, he is favorable to them. Now he says, in order to deliver the pious, means devotees, and to annihilate, kill the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion, I advent myself millennium after millennium. So here, although it may be seen as three reasons where he comes, actually the annihilation of miscreants is a hidden reason, which actually is not needed. He doesn't need to come for that. His energies can do it for him. He actually comes for delivering the pious and to re-establish the principles of religion, which is deviated. Okay? So for non-devotees, how does Krishna reciprocate? By being impartial and by giving this Bhagavad Gita, like you got the chance and you left it. You took advantage of it. Similarly, we have to keep giving chances to people, and according to their capacity, they may take it, they may not take it. Yeah? In the right mode. Is this okay? Right? Anyone else like to say on this point before we finish today? Please feel free. Okay, thank you. Anyone else to say anything before we finish today's discussion? Any questions? Anything to share? Please feel free. Okay, I enjoyed a lot. I'm sure everybody enjoyed it, today's program. I think we enjoyed it. Let's do a big Hari Bol for all of us. Hari Bol! Okay, good. The children are there now. I can see they're all excited. Little Madhava is there. Now, when Madhava is going to sing now? Right? You start singing Madhava. Hare Krishna Madhava. Hare Krishna Subhadra. Very nice. So today you're going to sing, Subhadra? You want to lead the Maharaj? Yeah.
Yes.
Start. Come on.
Maharaj, Maharaj,
Speak louder.
please hear us.
Maharaj, Maharaj, please hear us.
We have learned some real good stuff.
We have learned some real good stuff.
Maharaj, we have learned one thing.
Maharaj, we have learned one thing.
And today for you we will sing.
And today for you we will sing.
If our room is clean,
If our room is clean,
then our mind is clean.
then our mind is clean.
If our mind is clean,
If our mind is clean,
we can do anything.
we can do anything.
If our room is dirty,
If our room is dirty,
then so are we.
then so are we.
If we are dirty,
And if we are dirty,
we're not happy. We're not happy. Wasting time.
Wasting
time is the greatest crime.
Is the greatest
crime. Because wasted time.
because wasted time
means a wasted mind.
means a wasted mind.
So best is your time.
So best use your time
When you're in your prime.
when you are in your prime.
And your whole life.
And your whole life
will be sublime.
will be sublime.
If your wealth is gone.
If your wealth is gone,
there's nothing wrong.
then it's nothing wrong.
If your health is gone.
If your health is gone,
That's a different song.
that's a different song.
If your character dies.
If your character dies,
Then the world will cry.
then the world will cry.
Only saintly behavior.
Only saintly behavior
That's humanity thrive.
lets humanity thrive.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
We must always remember Krishna.
We must always remember Krishna
And never forget him too.
and never forget him too.
And how are we to practice this with so many things to do?
But how are we to practice this with so many things to do?
That is the greatest question.
That is the greatest question.
And here's the greatest clue.
And here is the greatest clue.
You must learn to work so nicely that Krishna remembers you.
You must learn to work so nicely that Krishna remembers you.
So listen very closely.
So listen very closely
And make your thinking sharp.
and make your thinking sharp.
Let's learn how we can live and work so Krishna won't depart.
Let's learn how we can live and work so Krishna won't depart.
If something due tomorrow,
If something's due tomorrow,
finish it today.
finish it today.
Whatever's due today,
Whatever's due today,
do it now, don't delay.
do it now, don't delay.
Your friends might be lazy.
Your friends might be lazy
Or doing bad things.
or doing bad things,
But you think again.
but you think again,
Don't follow them.
don't follow them,
You will win the end.
and you will win in the end.
Whatever work we're given.
Whatever work we're given,
We do our very best.
we do our very best.
We only live with what we need and give Krishna the rest.
We only live with what we need and give Krishna the rest.
This is how to live, to work and to play. You learn to live
Slowly,
this way,
slowly.
you'll see Krishna every day.
This is how to live, to work and to play. You learn to live this way, see Krishna every day.
When our time is up, you'll take us up a bath. We'll sing and dance with him with a heart full of love.
And when our time is up, please take us up above. We sing and dance with him with a heart full of love.
To chant Krishna's name, his glories and his fame, the only in this world who can never be contained.
So chant Krishna's name, his glories and his fame. It's the only way this world will ever become sane.
Now please ask this greatest question.
Now please ask this greatest question
Find this greatest clue.
and find this greatest
You
clue.
can only remember Krishna.
You can only remember Krishna
If Krishna remembers you.
if Krishna remembers you.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai.
Jai. His Holiness Srila Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj, Srila Gurudev ki Jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Chandra Bhagavan ki Jai. Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtan Mahayagna ki Jai. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Mahavishnu Goswami Namine. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Prasayani Vishesha Sundavadi Pashatari Sarine. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for all the participation. We meet Krishna willing. We meet next week. Same place, same time. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Hari Bol, Hare Krishna, Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.